I'm Ben Arrow, and today we're checking out Empire of the Ants. I've been playing strategy games since I was a little kid, from Brood War and Age of Empires to StarCraft 2 and They Are Billions. But one game is locked away deep in a core memory of my childhood. On my grandmother's ancient computer, she had a game called Battle Bugs. I was like 5 at the time, so I couldn't figure out how to play it, but I do remember thinking that bugs fighting was the coolest thing that I'd ever heard of, and it's in that spirit that we're looking at Empire of the Ants today. Take our first steps as a member of ant kind, and we can stick to stuff, but way cooler than that, we can jump like Dr. Disrespect, hopping to the top floor of a jungle gym. It's here we learn rule number 1 of being an ant, which is stay away from the water. As we awake on the first day of spring, we stretch our legs outside the colony by searching for food. We meet a nearby sister who asks us to explore objects of interest. As we collect these little dots, we find out that this is called a pair, which is what my gym teacher told me I would look like if I didn't hustle harder on the court, but joke's on him. He went to prison for inappropriately fondling the football team's equipment budget. We're then treated to the ant equivalent of an air-dropped voice message, aka a pheromone-laden vomit pile telling the story of a scout group beset by termite scum. This early awakening is cause for concern, so we must notify the queen back home. Welcome to the beautiful colony of Belokan. Amenities include Pinecone and Posse, the Among Us beetle. We're given our first mission. Not only were the termites active, but they've taken our southern nests, and we set out to get them back. First up, we encounter a group of neutral firebugs. They're weakened from an earlier encounter with the termites. We absolutely smash them, but we still have to tear our nests from the clutches of the milk-skinned villains. We're now introduced to different unit types. In this case, warriors are our burly, thick, muscled frontliners, and holding up the rear, we have gunners who spit formic acid, which is like hawking a loogie with the contents of your stomach, which is useful in the battlefield, but not how you get invited up to the Saudi prince's penthouse after a night out at the club. After a quick skirmish, they proved to be a softer target than a Gazan wedding, and we mopped them up easily. Go team. Our next mission finds us being ordered to oversee rebuilding of the very nests that were just taken back. And like any good conqueror, I'd rather leave this to the locals, but these ants are freshly born and they need an experienced hand to guide them. Like how Mickey Mouse guides the wallets of 40-something women with gender-ambiguous children, or the Haitian sweatshop workers that pay $1 a month to manufacture Pocahontas pajamas, or middle-aged autistic Asians. But not so fast, we're swarmed from all sides and forced to defend our position. It's like 2015 Mia Khalifa in Mia Khalifa's Coming for Dinner, featuring Sean Lawless and Juliana Vega, voted 22nd hottest Latina. Like the video if you support hot Latinas. After our success on the battlefield, we're ordered to see the Queen directly, and she has an important mission for us. We scuttle into the Casa de Belokan, past the last of our winter storage and our newly awakened sisters, to the Big Kahuna, the Queen Ant. Our sisters in the nearby colony of Tayukan have been playing DJ too much, and now the colony is flooded, and they're in dire need of a cleanup on Isle Gunnar's sister, so it's up to us to set things straight. After a quick talk with Queen Tayukan, we find out they're in need of food. We move out to collect some, specifically in a moss-covered cave hunting fireflies. The mechanics here are kind of funny. We have to aim our jump to land on the firefly to kill it, but these things are more erratic than Ezra Miller in a Hawaiian coffee shop after 2 8-balls and a quad-shot espresso. Thankfully, after many years of bunny hopping against 12-year-olds in Call of Duty, I'm a natural, and the colony is resupplied with their firefly guts. After a powwow with Ant Sister number 2349, we're ordered to run interference for our Tayukan sisters. Multiple termite armies are attacking, and it's up to us to crash the party. For the first time, we're introduced to higher-level units. So far, we've seen warriors, gunners, and even workers, but now we're given access to super predators, aka P. Diddy tier fighters, called Rose Beetles. These certified bad bitches will smash any opponent in a one-on-one encounter, with or without consent, just like Puffy off a 10-hour Goon Sesh. Subscribe if you're a 10-hour Gooner King. We receive reports that the water is lowering at our furthest outposts. I set out to rebuild them. I'm like FEMA without a hidden agenda. We're introduced to proper base building mechanics here. There's been a little so far, but the game is really trying to show us the ropes here, which means there's something serious coming soon.
'Cause 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 'cause
For now, we have to balance creating mushroom farms with wood yurds while researching a chemical laboratory to upgrade our units to Tier 2. The system is a little different than most RTS games where your units would usually auto-upgrade. In this game, you have to pay a per unit upgrade cost and then rebuild the unit like you're training it for the first time. Once you start this training, you lose access to the unit, so you have to buy enough time for the rebuild. There's one aspect that makes training units in this game a little more tolerable despite the rebuilding, which is that you can pay food to speed up the rebuilding process if you have the bank. So unlike most RTS games where you would spend money as soon as you have it, and then be forced to wait a certain amount of time, in this you can start the process while boosting resources every tick that you get more. This will speed up building somewhat, but what's really satisfying is pumping out fully upgraded units in just a few seconds by saving up enough money to boost their entire build time all at once. I don't think this is optimal unless you're worried about having enough units on hand to survive, but it does feel good and can easily overwhelm the opponent because tougher units are not just a little tougher, but a lot tougher. One Tier 2 warrior can 1v2 two Tier 1 worker groups, so it's worth the buy. I now want to talk a little bit about performance here. See, this is an Unreal Engine 5 title, and usually games made with it are just totally overbearing performance-wise, like your uncle when you used to play Wrestle. Especially for my PC, which is running a GTX 1080 at 1080p. While this game does offer upscaling, it suffers from the normal downsides like sparkly, half-rendered units, but the game does run reasonably with it on. I maintained a 50 to 60 FPS average throughout my time with it, and I can't complain too much because I'm on an 8-year-old graphic card. I dog on companies that use Unreal Engine 5 a lot because modern games are so blurry, checkerboarded, or half-rendered because of upscaling, when Unreal Engine 4 games were perfectly crisp and looked great in comparison. It really does feel like technology has gone backwards. However, I'm grateful that I can even play games on hardware as old as mine, but it still feels like the whole industry has just collectively decided they don't care much about fidelity anymore, and it makes me feel like an insane man holed up on a farm with a shotgun, screaming conspiracy theories about how the world has gone to hell. Anyway, subscribe so maybe I can afford a new video card sometime. I love you. Next, we're on recon duty to scope out wood-gargling goober snacks who are gathering nearby. Turns out ants are perfectly kitted for stealth with their ability to stick to any surface, like a 13-year-old boy with their first phone. At the end of the island, there's a treasure of acorns waiting like somebody found the leftovers of Peanut the wrongly euthanized squirrel. We're notified now of an invasion on the Eastern Front by the termites, and we rise to meet them in combat. However, we're met with our first defeat as we discover that the termites are secretly working with our cousins, the black ant hordes. This Oreo of bug destruction meet in the middle to drive us away. However, now that we have better intel, we come at the mission with a better strategy, which I call the Anti-Oreo Anteater Special, where I make as many units as I can as quickly as possible to immediately seize control of the master nests of both enemy parties, leading to a quick victory. Now, there's a lot to the plot of this game: politics, intrigue, betrayal, and succeeding against all odds, but I'm not going to spoil that for anyone who wants to experience it. But I will recommend the game. Overall, it's 8.5 out of 10, good concept, interesting design, and A-rank execution, but demerits for a bit too subtle sound design and music. They aren't bad, but they also don't stand out, and the controls are good, but could be better. They clearly had to hedge their bets to make things work with a controller, and I wish it was more traditional, because I usually only use a mouse and keyboard. So that's it. That's the video. Subscribe.